wrestling fans. Welcome to episode 2 of the Backstage Malay podcast. I am your host, Joe the Panther, the third, and now introducing to the mic my favorite co-host, the one, the only, Seth.
I was gonna introduce myself, but then I was like, listen, I could say subby, I could say sabby, we never know. You could say subby, because by the time that this airs, the promo will be out. So I'm gonna say that. But today, guys, I want to introduce Christian Rocco, the wild child, as he likes to be called.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This is an honor.
Absolutely. I told Joe, I was like, listen, I said, I saw him, the first time I saw Christian was in a Rumble. I said, there was something there. You had the technique, you had the flair. So I was like, you caught my eye right there and there. So I was like, we have to have him on a podcast. And then I haven't seen you actually wrestle a singles match yet.
I haven't seen me wrestle a singles match in a while either.
But, Slam Burger Fest is coming up soon.
Slam Burger Fest is coming up soon. I will be wrestling with my former tag team partner, Brian Morris of World Renowned over at the Monster Factory, if any of you guys follow.
I mean, I'll forgive you this time.
A lot of good matches on that card. Like a lot. There's
a lot of good matches.
I haven't seen any of these cards. I only saw that you were sponsored, and that's it. I haven't seen any matches. And I'm like, what am I missing? What's happening?
The funny thing about that sponsor is I found out that at the same time as everybody else. I was like, all right, what is this? But yeah, so thank you to them for sponsoring me. I'm really excited to be a part of the festival. It's going to be cool. I'm sharing the ring with Cheeseburger, MSG, Brian Morris, like a bunch of really awesome guys. Tim Hughes too. Fantastic card. If you guys have the chance, go out and see it.
And now you know, for not everyone who knows, like, tell them a little bit about yourself and like.
Sure. I have been a professional wrestling fan since I was 8 years old. I've gone to pretty much every single WrestleMania since 27, barring the COVID one. And I thought to myself, hey, maybe I can do this. And then I joined in 2020, and now I've been wrestling for 3 years at the Monster Factory. I'm a 3-time Monster Factory Tag Team Champion. I'm tied with Damian Priest. Just have to flex that. I got to be in an Apple TV show that came out this year, and a bunch of amazing opportunities that I could have never dreamt would come this fast, but it is an awesome ride and I am having an amazing time.
That's great. It's good to hear. It's funny because, like, let's go back to the Apple TV thing, because like that must have been a totally new experience for you guys. Like, I mean, sure. So like how was that experience of filming? Like, you know, just walk us through that. How did it feel?
Well, for them, it might be new for them, but for me, you can check me out on the WrestleMania ad this year. If you look at it, the Philly ad, you can see me going like this. But no, it was an incredible experience. I've never been around that kind of like quality of production. Some long shoot hours. It was a lot. I mean, it was a really intense, stressful situation, especially leading up to that 2300 show, which is another amazing accomplishment that I didn't think I'd get to do this quick. But yeah, I mean, it was a wonderful experience. I got to do it with amazing people. And not only that, just like the cast and crew were great. Like even the people behind the scenes were phenomenal. And they really made us look good. I think the show is amazing. If you haven't seen it, get an Apple TV subscription. You can always do a free trial, watch us, cancel. I don't care. As long as you get those views up. It was a really awesome time, and I think it's a really amazing show. And you can see me cameo here and there.
I know. I've watched it. I'm like, oh, there he is. You know, like in the back, like he's there.
I always say it's like you ever see the SpongeBob where he's like pointing at himself in the commercial? Yeah. It's just the square of his head.
It's kind of like Where's Waldo, but like Where's Christian? In this So Joe, like, I mean, obviously you've never physically met Christian, but yeah, he's the wild child that, you know, never has his merch on him.
Oh, geez.
I just had to plug that in there.
Oh, for sure. No, but you can get my merch at prowrestlingtees.com. for a little shameless plug. But no, so right now I am working on getting new merch because I've completely rebranded. I was just doing Christian Rocco. I had no moniker, no nothing. And, I thought I was hitting a point in my career where I need to spice it up a little bit, and I need to add a little bit of depth, a little bit of character, because that's what got me into wrestling. Especially, I'm wearing a Brian Pillman shirt. Like, he's a huge inspiration for me, especially with the whole Wild Child character. Flying Brian's awesome. I take a lot of inspiration from him, and I love rock music. I'm a huge 80s and 70s nut, so I just wanted to incorporate that into wrestling, and came the Wild Child.
Yeah, no, and you were, I think, let me remember this correctly. I think you said you were a part of the Golden Era at one point.
For that one picture I took with a fan where they said, "Oh, I love the Golden Era," and they told me to get in. I have a connection to the Golden Era in Brian Morris, who was a part of a team I was in at the Monster Factory called World Renowned. We won the tag team championships in February of last year, and then they kicked me out. They didn't think I was good enough. I feuded with them, won the titles back, lost them to them, then won them back.
Yeah, your tag team partner now is, say his name again?
Oliver.
I love the promos you guys do together. I think you guys are definitely a good fit. I haven't seen you guys in person, but from your promos that you guys cut, they're very good.
I love him. I adore him. So funny enough, we randomly just got paired together. It was one night where it was a battle royal, and it played out almost how you saw it in the ring. Neither one of us knew we were going to be a tag team together. All I knew is we were winning this, and then by the end of the night, we were wrestling for the tag team championships against Grayson and Wes Kelly. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to work. I really had no faith in it whatsoever. Me and him are really different people, and he's been the most he's the biggest yes man to anything we pitch, and he is willing to do anything, which is why I love him so much. He doesn't care about being the butt of the joke, and neither do I. So it's incredible. It's so much fun working with him. I've never had more fun making content with somebody than him, and my roommate, who's also kind of quasi my manager, Brian Murphy, who's also a commentator at the Monster Factory.
Got it.
So with you working at part of the Monster Factory, what have you taken from the training from there to bring into your wrestling style that you do right now?
Sure. The biggest thing they've ever stressed was fundamentals and making sure that you have a good grasp of the most basic parts of wrestling. From there you can build. But Dan is a phenomenal trainer. Truly cares about you. He's a bit of a hothead. And he'll be one to admit that as well. I mean, if you watch the show, you can see how he freaks out about every little thing. But no, he loves you. He wants you to succeed. Funny enough, over the weekend, he got frustrated over something. He tweeted this out, so I feel like this is fair range to talk about this story. He got so mad at somebody. I don't know what happened, but he went and kicked a cooler and broke his toe.
Oh my.
But if you know Dan, that's such a Dan thing. But yeah, as far as what I've taken, there's so much history there at the Monster Factory, and that's been the biggest thing for me of why I got into wrestling. I have such a respect for the history of it, and they have a more I've taken more of an old school style, more of an 80s style of just trying to kind of play to the crowd. I really not pandering, but really incorporating them in the match and being able to chant and get them to cheer.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's one thing that I've always stressed with independent wrestling is if you're as a wrestler are not trying to get us involved, you're gonna lose the crowd really fast.
Absolutely.
Because one, you have your heels, and your heels, if they're not bantering with the crowd, they're the crowd's gonna be well, what kind of heel are you if you're not gonna try to be argue with us? But storylines also are a good thing with independent wrestling, and I've stressed that so much. So when you guys put out these promos, you and Oliver with that, I forget which one that was that I loved so much. It was the one where you're I think it was Monster something.
Oh, Monsters Are Real?
Yes. And like that promo had me on the floor and made me actually be like, maybe I want to go see this. I didn't, but
it didn't work.
I know.
You gotta up our game. Come on.
You guys run on such similar schedules as PPW as well, so it's really hard.
No, that's true.
But like no, so like the storylines leading up to it is especially that. So I feel like Monster Factory does well in that aspect of things. But when you wanted to join wrestling, what about Monster Factory stood out? Was it the history that they had and like the background, or was it just like a little bit of everything?
Probably a little bit of everything, but the history was a huge part. I remember as a kid, there was this book. I can't remember the name of it. I used to read wrestling books all the time. When they first put out that encyclopedia, the one in 2008, I read that thing cover to cover all the time.
Wow.
But there was this one book that was like published around like the late 90s, probably early 2000s. But I remember it saying something about wrestling schools in the back. And Monster Factory was like the oldest one. And I saw, oh, it's in New Jersey. That's where I'm from. I live in Philly now, but it's still very close. It's honestly, it's more, it's closer to Philly than it is anywhere I was in Jersey. But I just looked at the alumni and the amount of talent that has come out of there. The amount of people that have just been signed. And like, if you look at who's there right now, I mean, Damian Priest, Matt Riddle, these guys are at the top of the game in WWE. And then you got Steve Macklin, who just won a Impact World Championship. They're all over the place. It's hard to deny the influence that the Monster Factory has on wrestling. Mm-hmm. Not everybody credits Dan, but he kind of deserves that. He's churned out like these incredibly talented people, and just pushed them to their limits. And that's how they've gotten that success.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, I'm turning this over to you.
Yeah. So is there any wrestlers that and you know what? I'm going to do my normal questions I would have said on dudes. Like, let's go back.
Sure.
What was your energy like in your very first match?
Very first match. I remember being scared. Can we curse on here?
Oh yeah, we can curse.
All right. So I always make sure. I was scared shitless. I just wanted to succeed so bad. I did competitive speech and debate all throughout college. Never got nervous. I'm never nervous talking in front of a crowd, doing things in front of a crowd. I'm just, something's not wired in my brain that makes me nervous. But for some reason, I care so much about this. I remember being so scared to death and just going over and over and over again with a buddy of mine, Fees, who no longer wrestles, but should. I mean, he was so talented. But I remember it was both of our first matches on a show, and we were opening. Funny enough, it was Monsters Are Real. And it went really well. I was really happy with it. And I won. I have to put that out there. That's not a good sign. You're supposed to lose on your first match, but no, I won. And I was really happy about it. It's one of those moments in my life that nobody can ever take away from me. For the longest time, I had this picture on my profile. It's still on all of my pages and all my socials and everything, but it's this blue picture of me just standing on the second rope in a leather jacket, just looking out and smiling. And I come back to that picture a lot and go, this is my happy place. Whenever anything goes bad, I just think to moments like that, or the first time I won the Monster Factory Tag Team Championship, and just remembering just this big sigh, this feeling of relief of like, man, I worked hard and I did it.
It's important. Is there any wrestlers from the indies or from the regular mainstay that you would love to work with that you haven't had a chance to work with yet?
Easy. That list is very long.
Oh, geez.
But if there's somebody on the top, this will be no surprise to anybody who knows me. It would be Edge. I grew up idolizing him. He's the reason I got into pro wrestling. And hopefully, by the time this airs, that Sheamus match is not his last match in Toronto. I've been hearing rumblings of that.
Yeah.
I hope that's not true. I hope one day I could wrestle him. That might be far-fetched, but I don't know. There's so many people. I adore Christian as well. MJF. I always say these two because I would love to work with them, even though they're past their prime. Buff Bagwell, Scott Steiner. I'd love to work with them. I absolutely adore Scott Steiner. But yeah, that list is so long. I'm so early in my career. I haven't really worked with too many big names. I've worked on shows with people who are, pretty well known or established people, but to be in the ring with them is a whole nother thing. I got to work with LSG a couple of years ago, and my God, he just operates at a whole different level. This guy's a Ring of Honor star. He's his brain just puts things together that I couldn't even comprehend, especially that early in my career. So yeah, I mean, if you're willing to book it, we'll set up Scott Steiner versus Christian Rocco.
We'll be commentary. We'll be commentary.
Perfect.
That thing, I would love, like, I say this all the time. Being backstage makes me want to actually be in commentary because, like, I'll say things and people are like, "Did you really just say that about this match?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, this is freaking. I think Saturday I used the word bonkers like at least 3 times. I'm like, "This is bonkers."
That's your slobber knocker.
This is bonkers.
They would have to beat me because I like to say "what the fuck" when something crazy happens.
Commentary, but seeing the one match at least that I've seen you in, and just your vibe that I get from you, I really would love to see you go against like someone like Matt Quay.
I love Matt Quay.
Because you two are like faces, but at the end of the day, like I think that Christian Rocco should turn heel, but that's just me.
Whoa. Christian Rocco was a heel for a while.
But I'm just saying, Sabrina's got a list of her favorites, and they're mostly healed except for Christian Rocco. So something's gotta change. No.
You're bringing me to the dark side.
I'm gonna bring you to the dark side.
Sabrina made cookies. She's she's been
able
to. I love heels.
Like my kryptonite.
That should have been the logo. Sabrina hitting me in the head with a tray.
But just the vibes that you also give out, because especially at Hamburg is Fieldhouse is very iconic and everyone knows it.
Absolutely.
And so when I first met you, I felt your vibe and I was like, there's something special about this dude. And I think I told you that from the get-go. I was like, this dude is gonna go far. And I put that in my notes because I'm like, if you ever get famous, I'm gonna pull this up and tweet it and say, I met him when.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But there's so many names. When I felt your vibe, that popped in my head. Of course, I said Matt Quay, but also Laszlo, the Hungarian. I just want to see you really get your name out there. But the most of all, Goldie. I would love to see you go against Goldie.
Goldie's great. I've gotten to work with Goldie before. He is an incredible, incredible talent. You heard it in the documentary if you watched it. He has the best chance of going pro. He's got the look. He's one of the most talented people I've ever seen live. I can't say enough good things about him. And he's a great dude too. As much as he plays a douche, as much as he plays this arrogant ass, but he really is. He's one of the most hardworking people and just an all around great dude. I can't say enough good things about him.
But that's what shows is especially in the independent industry is you can be this guy in the ring, but when it comes down to your fans coming up to you, because I see how you guys all interact with people, especially at Hamburg, Brian Morris might be an ass in the ring, but he is a very nice person to the fans. He will take pictures with the fans and stuff like that. And just like Goldie, I've talked to Goldie a handful of times there, and he is who he is in the ring, but outside the ring, he's a very nice guy. And so I think that's also another Monster Factory thing is you guys are very trained to yes, it's about wrestling, but also it's about the fans that come to see you.
For sure.
You don't want to be a complete douche.
Yeah. I think sometimes people forget that they were fans once, and that's something that I can't ever shake off. I'm sitting here with action figures and a fake title behind me, but no, it's the truth. I will never not be a fan of wrestling. I've been around it for so long. A majority of my life has been centered around going to shows. My parents used to take me every weekend to a show, whether it was CZW or PWS at the time, that's now WrestlePro, or going to the 2300 for House of Hardcore or any other thing. You think back to those moments of when you met a wrestler and they were awesome and they were super nice, and it cheers you up. And I would love to give that same experience to somebody. You can't forget where you came from.
Absolutely not. Like, it's funny because you said about your fake title in the back, and Joe has a fake title in his background. And it's funny, I'm sitting here going, I have a completely blank space right now, guys.
I have a real title in my duffel bag in my car. That's the difference.
There you go. Yeah.
If you would have, we were smarter. We could have told you before we started recording. You could have grabbed the belt and had it with you, because that would have been the first title we've ever shown.
Oh, come on. What a missed opportunity.
I mean, he's flexed so much on this show already today. Like, it might have just been another flex. But it's just so funny because, like you said, I feel like a lot of wrestlers today just forget about their whole, like, oh, like, we were in the fandom once. And because, yeah, I've seen wrestlers in the ring and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I can't wait for the show to end so I can go meet them. And then you meet them and it's like, they're not the same person that you thought they were going to be.
Sure.
And so, like, that is one of the things that's very genuine about, you, Goldie, and like the whole Monster Factory people is like, I've seen the documentary and it's like, you see how heartfelt that you guys get in this docuseries. And sure. I even messaged Goldie one time and I was like, wow, like, I actually got to see like the real side of you and not just like who you're putting on in the ring. And like, I was like, this is great. But if you had to choose like a dream arena or like a dream venue, like what would it be?
Dream arena or dream venue? See, I got to work in one of them. I had like a bucket list of all the places I would want to work, and one of them that was at the top was the 2300, which is an achievable one. But going there as a kid, almost every other week was, and especially the history. It's the ECW arena, like, and I'm a Philly guy, so of course it means a lot to me. But Madison Square Garden is the one. That's the one. And I know they don't run big shows there anymore. It's mostly for house shows. But my God,
sometimes they do Raw SmackDowns there. Sometimes, but
it
depends on what's going on. Because I know one thing. I live in the Milford area, and Scranton's like less than maybe 2 cups of coffee, a half a cup of coffee from Milford.
Yeah.
If there's something big about to happen within WWE on Raw or SmackDown, they're coming to Wilkes-Barre, and it's like,
yeah.
I remember the last time, guys, when I went to Wilkes-Barre for a Raw. This was a long time ago.
You're showing your age. He's going to show his age. You're going to show your age.
This man's limo exploded during the show.
I remember that one.
I was freaking out because everybody was walking out, lighting their cigarettes, and I'm having the panic attack of a lifetime, guys. I was going, don't put the cigarette out. We're gonna die. We're all gonna explode. They're all gonna explode because the gasoline smell.
But yeah, it's crazy. The 2300 Club Arena is nice. I've only seen MLW there, which is But Madison Square Garden, I mean, it isn't too far fetched. Like you said, you're in the very beginning stage of your career. You know what I mean? Like, it can happen.
Oh, for sure. I'm always about, if you can visualize it, you can achieve it. And I do see myself walking out there one day, especially Madison Square Garden. That's the all-time arena that I want to work in. There's just so much history. I mean, like the birth of, Vince McMahon's professional wrestling, his WWF happened in that building with Hogan winning in '84. You have every major event happening there. And not only that, like, I'm a huge music guy too. Like, every big concert that's ever been held there's just so much history, and it's hard not to like feel it. That's when I got to the 2300, you felt it. Like, I got emotional driving there just because it was such a big moment for me.
Yeah.
But you get in the building, it's like, oh my God, you feel the presence. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm in tune with spirits and I need to get a Ouija board and start talking to God knows who from ECW. But no, you feel different when you walk in there. There's an aura, there's an energy, there's an expectation you want to live up to, for sure.
Absolutely. And then, so obviously that's like a dream thing, but like your entrance music, like Did you come up with that? Or did you?
I have a couple of songs right now. I have an Ollie Rock Express song and I have my solo one. And both of them are complete ripoffs of 80s songs.
I kind of thought yours was.
I am the biggest Blondie fan. I have seen them a bunch of times. I love Debbie Harry. So my solo music is just Call Me, but the beats changed a little bit. I have a really good buddy of mine. He used to be my old boss when I worked at a sandwich shop. His name is Dennis. I can promote him here too. He runs a couple of different channels and stuff on Instagram. If you want to look up Die TV or Die TV Music, he's a musician as well, and he helped me come up with that song in an afternoon. So I got that one, and then I just remixed "Don't Go" by Yaz for the Ollie Rock song. I'm a huge 80s nut, so both of those are pretty awesome to have as a theme song.
I was gonna say, because like yours when you came out sounded so familiar, and I was like, because again, my mom is from the 80s, so it's like I grew up to a lot of that music. So when I heard that, I was like, this sounds familiar. But like I was like, because when you're in a wrestling event and you hear something that sounds familiar, like, do I know this wrestler that's about to come out right now? Because usually that's what happens. And I had no idea who you were, so I was like, well, I don't know who he is. This must be a song from Thing. But Joe, I gotta ask you.
All right.
Now you know the independent industry. You go to PPW, so you went to PPW. Sometimes you keep up with it. Yeah. Anybody from that roster? Do you think that you could see? Who do you think that you could see going well with Christian?
Ooh, Bro Keller.
I have a few.
Ooh, Bro Keller. I love Bro Keller.
How tall are you? Bro's a beanpole. He's a giant guy. He's a big dude.
I'm about like 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, he's
I like to say I'm 6 foot, but that's completely lie.
You're gonna laugh. When I saw Bro Keller wrestle the 100th show, I was like, okay, this guy's probably like a grapple. Bro Keller was flying around the ring like a wet paper bag, man. It was like, what's going on?
He's crazy, but I wasn't thinking Bro Keller. I was thinking more of the lines of Facade.
Oh yeah,
Neon Ninja.
Very talented, very talented. The Neon Ninja.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sing the theme song because I don't want to get a copyright strike.
It would be a really good time for you to turn heel. See, I'm really trying here.
Oh, she's working her magic. She's like,
I'm gonna be like PPW. Okay, so this guy, Mr. Rocco.
Turn me heel.
She's on a wrestler's budget. She has to use her fingers as her Hawaiian hand as a phone.
I could have just used my actual phone because it's right here, but I was not thinking at the time.
Wrestling budget. She has to use her fingers.
Yeah, wrestling budget. My bad. Yeah, I'm really.
That is a wrestling budget.
Going on.
That being said, there have been shows where I've been paid an actual hot dog and handshake.
Ooh, I have an interesting question for you there, Wow Child. Do you when you're traveling, what is like your go-to spot? Local spots like restaurants, or is it the normal chain?
I've traveled a lot of different places, thankfully, but really it just ends up being like a fast food place because we're usually on the run or we need to get back. Wawa has migrated to the south now, which is nuts.
Yeah, I heard that.
Wawa is always the right choice. And for the people who don't like Wawa, what's wrong with you?
I agree.
Amazing.
My mom is obsessed with Wawa, dude. Like obsessed. We're like, we're not gonna stop anywhere. We're on the halfway home. We're gonna go to Wawa, and I'm like, originally I'm like, ugh. Now I'm like, dude, I can get a BLT on a hero road. I can't.
Yeah, it was crazy when I went to Florida about a while ago. But like, I saw Wawa and I was like, "Well, this is."
That happened to me too. It was nuts. I was down there for WrestleMania. I'm like, they're following me. They're coming from Jersey and Philly to get me.
They need to go to the West because when I was just in Vegas, like there was nothing there except for like, I mean, Raising Cane's, like those kind of things, but like. There wasn't your.
They're moving over here too. I just had Raising Cane's for the first time. It's really good.
It is good. I had it in Vegas.
You know what needs to come here too?
I loved it.
You know what, Shane? Like Wawa needs to come this direction. And I knew Southern wrestlers for a while, and I get this all the time, and I'm so jealous. And then I finally saw it on CBS, and I'm like super, super jealous. Buc-ee's.
I've never been to Buc-ee's, but I keep seeing it pop up everywhere.
My mom did when she was in Alabama, and she said it was amazing.
The bathrooms, even though like it's a bathroom, you go in and you come out, is like a hotel.
You ever stay in one?
I heard that their bathrooms are phenomenal and there's showers there.
They have showers in the bathroom?
They have showers in the back of Buc-ee's.
I don't know if I could ever trust a public shower.
I'd be too nervous. I'll be thinking like a shower thing. I'll be like,
I went to college, and sharing showers with people was one of my biggest fears. I was the guy who wore shoes in the shower.
A jail shower in my my locker room at the high school I went to in Long Island. So
yeah. I'll wait. I'll wait until I go home.
So what's really weird is, so when I was in Vegas and we were like trying to figure out like what to eat, and we went to Raising Cane's, this just popped up in my head. They're like, oh, you know that we have one in Philly. I was like, you mean I traveled all the way to the West Coast for something that could be like, is only an hour away from me? I was like, what? And then, but they do live up to their hype, because obviously TikTok's a huge thing now. And like, I don't know if the wrestlers, because I know a lot of wrestlers do have TikTok, just because they like to like put their reels out there.
Oh yeah.
But like, I'm on this really weird TikTok page where it's like half wrestling and half like fast food chains, and I don't know how I got into this like scenario. But yeah, I mean, does Raising Cane's live up to the hype in Philly?
I think it does. For the one I had, it's the one in Center City. It's right around all the colleges that are right there. I thought it was really good. I mean, it's not, you see every TikTok of them dunking it into a bucket of sauce. I had the sauce. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It lived up to my expectations.
I could. You know what? Next time I'm just gonna go an hour away. I'm so bummed.
Sabrina, we have to message them. Maybe they could be our first sponsor.
Maybe they could be our sponsor. I'll be like, listen, Christian Rocco talked so highly of you guys.
I'll get Raising Cane's tattooed on me. You guys sponsor me. It's going right on my ear.
If you're watching this podcast, we're a new podcast. We'll definitely talk so much about you. You just give us a nice gift card, I'll take it, and we'll eventually go.
Do you see the Subway thing? If you change your name legally to Subway, you get free Subway forever.
What?
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'm Subway Rocco.
Right? I'm close to Subway, so Subby. So. But no, like, I don't know, because like when you asked that question about like, do you go like on the go stuff or do you do local restaurants? Like, I think it's hard because even when I go to wrestling events, I don't eat at the event. I always get something on the way home, and it's usually a fast food restaurant, because it's like, by the time a lot of these things are done, like especially the one in Hamburg, by the time that's done and I say bye to everybody, like there's nothing open except for like Rutter's, Wawa, or Sheetz. Like there's nothing.
I've never heard of Rutter's.
So Rutter's is like Wawa. So Rutter's is actually like 10 minutes down the street from me, and it's basically like the same thing. Like they have wraps, they have stuff that like if you're a little bit of health nut like I am, like it suits you. Whereas like Wawa and Sheetz do, but like
you're going to Wawa for a quesadilla.
I am going to go to Wawa for a quesadilla. You're right. But like, I don't know. Sheetz has never been on my like.
I've never been the biggest. Like that's going to piss a lot of people off. I've never been the biggest Sheetz guy. They're good. They're fine. They're okay. They have a lot more options. That's about it. But I'm going quality over quantity. The only thing though, they do have those Wisconsin like cheese curds that are really, really good. And then they have that like potato like stick thing that's like a mashed potato, but it's fried on the ends. I don't know. It's pretty good. He said
it's like a potato, but like on a stick. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I've never had cheese curds. It sounds so weird. I guess maybe because I live on the East Coast.
we live on the East Coast too. Like
I know, it's weird.
He's only an hour away from you. You're like 2 hours above me, Joe. Like I'm like in the middle of y'all. Okay.
Like the trifecta.
Yeah.
We're gonna make people evaporate. We're in the middle.
But like, I don't know. I don't think so, because like I think Rudders is also like a very small chain right now, and then we're also getting something that's very popular in Maryland, a Royal Farms. We're getting around here.
Yeah, I've been to Royal Farms. Royal Farms is pretty good. They're fried, pretty solid.
Yes, I know when I'm in Maryland, when I start seeing Royal Farms pop up, I'm like, oh, okay, there. I'm in Maryland. Here we go.
I guess you're gonna have to hold me hostage one day and bring me to a MCW show, because you've talked so highly about it, and I'm so excited to go.
We won't talk about how many shows I go to, because I tell you, Joe, how many shows I go to, and then I still haven't seen Christian at the Green Monster Factory. I always call it that for some odd reason.
The Green Monster.
It's called
she just changed the name on them.
Green Giant.
Monster Factory.
Well, because like they have green in the name, like in the logo. Okay. But like
green.
The amount of times that I ask Rocco for the dates for Monster Factory, and I go, okay, so MCW has dates that day. I know more people there than I do at Monster Factory. But yeah, no, I'll get there eventually. We'll get there. Maybe, when I'm 30.
So we're gonna start slowing. We're gonna end it now. So Christian, is there? It's all right. No, like that's pretty.
I'm having a great time. I'm talking
Christian,
about fast food.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate it. I'm so thankful to have you as our second guest, because you're the wild child. Why not? So, if our fans would like to follow you on social media, where can they find you?
That is a perfect segue. I finally have all of it the same now. You can find me at Wild Child Rocco. Easy. You can find it on everyone. For a while, it was just Christian Rocco 41, the real Christian Rocco, Christian Rock 14. It is one thing now. You can find me, Wild Child Rocco.
Wild Child Rocco.
And
I mean, we'll obviously put that down below too.
Put that in the bio.
You better.
And everything.
You know what? I'm gonna plug myself. No.
Yeah, go for it.
But yes, I do want to, again, like he said, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. I mean, like I said before we started airing, like you were on the top of my list for sure. Like,
thank you.
I gave him a list of people, and so far we've gotten 2 off of that list. And like I said, I know that you're gonna go very far, and when you do, just remember the small people that you talk to. Hi, when you.
Hi, Subby.
Subby. Stabby. She's gonna stabby me for that one later on.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, like when this comes out, I'm literally like, because I always put little clip-its up, guys. So make sure by the time this comes out, you guys look at my Instagram. I'm going to put the whole thing of the promo of you saying Subby, and then literally, because like that was just the funniest thing.
I want to put this out there. I read that thing exactly the way it said. I have no idea what nicknames people do. I've heard people come up with crazy stuff, and then they tell me their name's like Joe Schmo, and they're like, I don't know, Anthony Chaos or something. I have no clue what people go by.
I was trying to be so nice, because I was thinking back. I was like, was it Sabby? Was it Subby? Like, do I say right Sabrina? Then she'll be like, no, he said my real name, and then no, and then do it again.
It's
and
not okay. Let's make this clear, everybody. I don't have an issue saying my real name, but Sabby has been a nickname that a lot of wrestlers have from PPW have come up for me, because it's like, I always like say, oh, I don't have a nickname, and they're like, oh, come on, you gotta have something. So it's Sabby. Sabby literally just came from wrestling. So when I started the other podcast, I was Sabby. Okay, it's Sabby, people. But like, all in all, him and Joe and I have come together to make this podcast, and
it's an awesome podcast, by the way. Everybody subscribe, like, whatever you guys need, tweet it out, follow them, whatever people do.
And you can follow us on Instagram if you want to talk about the fun news about our new Instagram page, Sabrina. If you want to tell them about it.
What do you mean that we have an Instagram page?
We have Instagram. It's the Backstage Malay podcast, the newest Instagram that's on.
Let me I can pull it up real quick, guys. Because
I'm here for the big reveal.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I want to let everyone know that Rocco is a very nice person because he has heard me complain about podcasts in the past. So, but yeah, here's our Instagram, everybody. It is Backstage Melee Podcast. We have 79 followers, so make sure you bring that up to at least 100. I'm just asking for 100.
Yes, we want to have 100 by at least
round it off. Come on.
By the time when me and Subby are hanging out again at the show. And we also have Twitter, but even though it's under my original Joe Panther the Third, you can't see it right now, but it's Backstage Melee on Twitter.
I feel like this is gonna be a running joke with us guys. I'm just Subby to everybody. Like Christian's gonna see me at Hamburg and be like, "What's up, Subby?"
Don't forget the Subby, our YouTube channel, because she'll give you a thumbs up.
Yes, you guys
subscribe to Subby.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please, follow Christian on all social media platforms. You want to say some of the next shows that you're going to be at so that people
promote your next shows.
Christian? I have a bunch of shows coming up. I have a pretty hectic schedule coming up in September. So I know there's the first weekend of September, that Friday, I'll be working at Sanctuary over in Hazleton. I will be at a Monster Factory show as well, and I will also be at all the 1CW shows coming up in Delaware. You can find me at all those shows, as well as the Hamburg Festival coming up. That's going to be the weekend in September. Every Friday, if you come to the Monster Factory, we have a free wrestling show. That is free 99. You don't have to pay anything. You just walk in and you can watch some awesome wrestlers that are going to be on TV one day. Come every Friday. Tune into the Monster Factory YouTube page where you can watch all of our shows live. You can also watch me on the Delmarv Sports Network where I wrestle for 1CW, and also go to Hamburg. Come on, guys. What are you doing? It's the world famous Hamburg Arena. I forget what they call it. The historic Hamburg, right? Historic Hamburg. Yes. I'm getting all these confused because the Monster Factory is the world famous Monster Factory.
Oh, okay.
They should merge.
All of them are starting to blend. I'm getting too many bookings. Oh, and check me out at We Are One. They're going to be running a show also that first weekend in September. I will also be on that. I am booked up. You can also check me out on the Shining Wizards podcast too, where I challenge every month on the Can You Beat That podcast.
We would love to have them on someday. That'd be so cool to have Shining
That'd
Wizards.
Be a crazy synergy, right? It'd be like 90 people.
Oh God, I don't think I could get that many people on the screen.
No, but and he said the Hamburg Factory. What, Christian? Now you got me messing up my words. Just like Hamburg Factory.
The historic Hamburg Field.
The Hamburg Show.
The alliteration.
If you guys come to the Hamburg Show, who knows? Maybe watch our Instagram page, because who knows? Maybe I'll shoot a video with Christian live. Who knows?
Whoa.
But again, anybody who, make sure you like, subscribe to everything, guys, and we will see you guys in the next video.
Good night, everybody.
Rock on.
Canada.